Tonight on SCTV3, see an SC Student Media exclusive report on the closing of Gulick Hall.
Plus, see the highlights from this year's Seat at the Table series.
All that and more tonight on SCTV3. Hello and welcome to another edition of SCTV3 Weekly News. I'm Dante Iafrate.
And I'm Emma Bynes. Thank you for joining us.
We begin tonight with an exclusive student media breaking story. Gulick Hall, an historic first-year residence building, will close after the 2024-25 academic school year.
The decision comes after millions of dollars in deferred maintenance became too much for the college to consider a renovation. Administrative leaders hope to construct a new dormitory in its place. SCTV3's Patrick Fergus is covering the ongoing developments.
One of the oldest buildings on campus, living in Gulick Hall has become a rite of passage for about 300 first-year students every year. Many who live there remember the unique layout, small windows, and access to air conditioning. The dorm's reputation has slowly deteriorated over time, and with serious maintenance needed, President Mary Beth Cooper knew it was time for a change.
We've been watching the building, the deferred maintenance in the building, the chillers, which translates to air conditioning. And so for us, it was a culmination of looking at a building that has $20 million of deferred maintenance and saying it's time for a new residence hall.
The dorm first opened in 1969. It was the first to break the tradition of males and females residing in separate buildings. The odd interior structure of different letter and numbered floors were originally designations for a gender. Despite its history, it was clear the college was ready to turn a new chapter. Last month, the Board of Trustees voted unanimously to close the dorm at the end of the school year. Dr. Slandy DeJuice, the Vice President for Campus Life and Inclusion, says more and more students were voicing concerns about the building, and the decision had been about 3 years in the making.
And we always knew that probably we would have to take Gulick would be the one that we take offline. So this year, when the last chiller in Gulick gave way, it was the time to say, you know what, it's Gulick, and the time is now.
President Cooper says she has prioritized maintaining iconic buildings on campus like Alumni Hall, Marsh Memorial Chapel, and Judd Gymnasia, but hasn't shied away from necessary updates, such as the library, which was built in 1972 and underwent a massive renovation project in 2016. Now, administrative leaders opting against a renovation of Gulick are working towards the construction of a brand new residence hall.
What we're going to do is put together a task force that will be comprised of administrators and staff and students to take a look at what's the best place for a new residence hall and who should it serve. Do they want individual rooms? Do they want suite style? And so we'll be doing a lot of work in the spring. Dr. Slandy and her team will be out recruiting information from students.
For the incoming first-year class, Abbey Appleton and Massasoit Halls look to be where they will reside. And DeJuice is confident that the college has the proper capacity for a new class.
When we look at the stock of housing, we've realized that we have more than enough to accommodate an incoming class size as much as like 550 or 540.
The school has yet to make a determination on where this new residence hall will be built, whether it be here or somewhere else on campus. The Springfield College community can expect updates in the coming months, and certainly by the spring semester. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Patrick Fergus.
The school received an email today about the decision saying, quote, "We are excited about the opportunity to enhance the student residential experience," end quote.
This past week, Springfield College held their annual Seat at the Table speaker series, kicking off on Monday with a number of different events. Malai Elson, the Assistant Dean for Interprofessional Education at Springfield College, started off his presentation talking about simulation modalities. Within the last 10 to 20 years, Elson showed different races and special groups are now being represented in human simulations, such as Black, Asian, Hispanic, and a number of different groups of people. Elson stressed the importance of these groups being represented in interactive simulations, when students such as physical therapy and occupational therapy majors have to interact with the patient. They shouldn't base their protocol on the patient's appearance. Elson made light of the case studies and how students reacted to the updated tech.
Nurses in our training program, if there's any difference in between those types of people when they come to the emergency room, they all answer in the same way. There's no difference. Yeah. But when they interact, they feel something different.
Elson hopes to see more diversity amongst simulations right here on campus in the Health Sciences Center.
Tuesday also featured a diverse set of great speakers. Ariel Rodriguez, a professor of recreation industries and therapeutic recreation, shared his experience as a first-generation U.S. citizen He took his audience through a few levels of his favorite video game, Venba. It follows an Indian immigrant family with a young boy born in Canada. Ariel talked about how his own life experience helped him relate to the boy's challenges. Later that day, Dr. Slandy DeJuice, the Vice President of Campus Life and Inclusion, shared her struggles as a Haitian American woman and why it is important to learn about both Haitian and other cultures' histories.
And so I think when people could see, if people can see themselves in our history, and they can begin to understand what we bring to the table and the contributions that we have made, not only to Haitian society, but also to the world.
DeJuice says that she will continue to fight and advocate for Haitian rights and spread awareness of the unjust and discrimination that they face.
Day 3 of the series tackled the topics of anti-Semitism, the use of pronouns in healthcare, and intersectional feminism. Rachel Rubenstein gave a lecture about understanding anti-Semitism and the narratives that unfairly surround the Jewish community. In another session, some students talked about the importance of using the correct pronouns in healthcare and how regularly sharing your pronouns with your doctor is important. The day started out strong as 4 students in Professor Alice Ian's feminism class gave a presentation about intersectional feminism. The presentation focused on women in the hip-hop industry being targeted for their lyrics and how women still continue to fight societal barriers today. Student speaker Juliana Torres spoke about why the presentation was important for her to deliver.
I think it's important because I've resonated with feminism in terms of my career, my future career, and I wanted to inform the public of why it's important in healthcare.
Torres also said the feminism literature course is especially useful at understanding the changing ideals of feminism.
Finally today, 2 virtual events were held covering the importance of a mentor in appropriating Native American cultures. The first event was titled, I Found a Mentor, Now What? It highlighted the importance of having a mentor and the value that having a mentor adds to one's life. Presented by Dr. Rebecca J. Wilson in an interactive workshop style, she also discussed the importance of social capital, or the resources and access gained through our social networks. After that, Laurel Davis Delano presented her research project titled Appropriation of Native American Cultures. She started out by giving a quick overview of what Native American appropriation was and how it actually has a rich history here at Springfield College. She then discussed its presence on a national level before diving into her own research, which showed that many Native members of Alaska and Hawaii felt that appropriation was an issue in the United States. Seat at the Table concludes tomorrow with events starting at 11, 12:30, and 2:30, covering a wide range of issues.
We now send it over to Morgan Barbosa with our local and national weather updates. Morgan?
Thanks, Dante. Looking at the days ahead, we can expect clear skies going into the weekend, with temperatures staying consistently between lower 60s and mid 50s, with lows in the 30s and 40s, so make sure you're staying warm. Looking at both Monday and Thursday of next week, you may want to bring a raincoat or umbrella with you because we are expecting light showers. But thankfully, Tuesday and Wednesday, the sun is out with temperatures in the low 50s. Now let's look at some national weather headlines. There are currently 9 states being affected by large, uncontained wildfires. States across the country like California are constantly battling these fires. Firefighters working to contain a rapidly burning brush fire on South Mountains in Moore Park, California. Officials say the fire is fueled by strong winds blowing through the area. Within an hour, the blaze had ballooned in size to engulf nearly 1,000 acres of brush. Firefighters said that it remains 0% contained. The fire comes in the middle of service winds battling much of Southern California, which prompted National Weather Service officials to issue red flag warnings because of the ongoing fire weather patterns. Evacuation orders are currently in effect for residents living in the areas of ongoing fires. There is an evacuation shelter that is being made available to them as well. Back to you guys in Studio A.
After the break, see a Q&A with Carter Cacciardo, a gymnast and member of the Student Government Association.
We gotta learn to get back. And if we get out. We gotta learn to live free.
Springfield College senior Carter Cacciardo sat down with SCTV3's Caitlin Kupiak to talk about his overall experience as an athlete and leader on campus.
Carter Cacciardo, I'm a senior here, recreational management program. I'm also the senior captain of the men's varsity gymnastics team. I am the Student Government Association president. I just wrapped up myself being a co-chair for pre-camp. Other than that, I think that's it at this point. At that point in time, I was a junior, and I had a lot of stuff on my plate already, but I think, you know, applying myself to student government, it was such a broader, you know, aspect of giving back, you know. Being a part of pre-camp was probably the most, you know, pivotal point in my life, if I'm going to be frank, but it taught me to, you know, accept myself first, and learn to love myself first, and that is, you know, brought me nothing but good things. Learning to be friends with myself has allowed me to be friends with so many other people and to understand people. You know, overcoming individual challenges has allowed me to learn tactics to help people overcome their own challenges. You know, I came here as a gymnast, and now I'm leaving as just Carter. It's allowed me to learn that I don't have to just be one thing. You know, I don't have to just be a gymnast. I can be a gymnast who does a lot of other things and holds a lot of other things close to, you know, his heart. It's taught me to be patient. I think that's a skill that I value a lot, but also just to be confident. I think the most important thing I've learned is the definition of love. I think I came here thinking that love was just something that you had in a relationship, but I realized it can apply to everything. It spreads, you know, faster than anything, I think, here on this earth, and it just uplifts people, you know, to their fullest potential. I think just to not to take things so seriously and just have fun, because I feel like these 4 years are, you know, the most important of your life. So being able to take the time and apply yourself to things that will help you learn, that will help you grow. I think applying yourself to those and just having fun is, you know, the most important thing that you can do here at Springfield College.
You can catch Carter and the men's gymnastics team at their first look intra-squad event Sunday afternoon at 1 in Blake Arena.
The application to be an RA or resident assistant for the spring semester will close on November 12th at 4:30. There will be one more RA info session on the 12th at 3:15. The main appeal of becoming an RA is that they receive free housing and a discounted meal plan. Some eligibility requirements are a cumulative GPA over 2.5, good standing with the Office of Community Standards, and at least 1 year spent as a student at Springfield College. They serve as the first point of contact for a floor student and maintain an important role in the residence halls.
Being an RA helps me connect with other people on campus, and something that I take pride in is having quite intentional and serious conversations, so being able to help those, whether it's with class or something outside, maybe a little bit more serious, that's something that I really enjoy doing.
Right now, students can only apply to become an RA for spring semester in 2025. The application for the 25-26 academic year is set to come out this winter.
The Dodge Room was certainly a busy place this week, as a major fair was held for students visiting the college to see possible options for grad school. A number of prospective students made their way around to different tables. They explored all the programs and information about master's degrees, doctorates, and certifications for fields like teaching or counseling. Event organizers said the majority of visitors received their bachelor's degree at other schools and were looking to join the Springfield community as a grad student. Another round of the information session was held later from 5 to 7 with a good amount of students in attendance. For more information about the school's graduate programs, another session will be held in the Dodge Room on March 27th, or you can email the Office of Graduate Admissions from graduate@springfield.edu.
Now turning to some national headlines. On election night Tuesday, former President Donald Trump swept every battleground state and won a convincing electoral victory as he is set to return to the White House. Trump is now the second president after Grover Cleveland to be elected to 2 non-consecutive terms. It was a successful night for Republicans overall as they took control of the Senate as well, with the House to be decided in the coming weeks.
This will truly be the golden age of America.
President-elect Donald Trump picked up a win in Michigan Wednesday afternoon, sweeping the so-called blue wall states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin that were keys to Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign.
We're going to make our country better than it ever has been.
Harris addressed her supporters in Washington, D.C. this afternoon at around 4 o'clock. She called Trump earlier to concede the race and discuss the peaceful transition of power.
While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves.
Her closing message of unity and hope was not enough to sway voters. CBS News exit polls show Harris fared worse among Latino voters, young voters, and women compared to President Biden's results in 2020. CBS News Director of Elections Anthony Salvatano says results from the suburbs of Philadelphia in the battleground state of Pennsylvania highlight the challenge her campaign faced.
See these red and pinkish areas? Yep. Leaning Republican, 2020, they were much bluer. That's where a lot of the shift happened. This is white working class voters. These are voters who told us consistently they were hard hit by inflation.
Harris's defeat caps a whirlwind campaign after President Biden stepped aside this summer and the Democratic Party coalesced behind her. Republicans have won control of the Senate, a major boost for President-elect Donald Trump to enact his agenda, confirm his cabinet officials, and secure lifetime appointments for federal judges, including any potential openings on the U.S. Supreme Court. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Dante Iafrate. The Trump campaign said in a statement that Trump, quote, acknowledged Vice President Harris on her strength, professionalism, and tenacity, and both leaders agreed on the importance of unifying the country, end quote.
When concussions get brought up, it's usually in relation to sports. However, a recent study shows that law enforcement officers are at a higher risk than many think. SCTV3's Liam Riley has more.
A recent study by Josh Walters, the deputy sheriff of Franklin County in Ohio, discovered that head injuries are more common for officers than some have thought. A survey of 381 personnel in central Ohio found that 74% of law enforcement professionals have reported 1 or more head injuries, with 30% of those happening on the job. Walters explained how head injuries suffered during duty can go unnoticed.
When we get injured in something, we're looking for holes and blood leaking, not necessarily how dilated your pupils are, because you just smashed your head on something.
Officers that receive concussions are often unable to get immediate treatment for their injuries due to the demand of their job. Jacqueline Cassis, an assistant professor in the School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences at Ohio State University, knows that head injuries in law enforcement go unreported and hopes the survey sheds light to it.
I think one of the things that we're hoping this survey will do is increase awareness among law enforcement officers and the public more broadly regarding head injuries outside of the sporting context.
In addition to conducting the survey, Walters wants to implement a return to duty protocol like sports teams in the military have done.
If you're going call to call and you've just received a concussion and now you're dealing with a high stress situation, it's very hard to break all that down and make those really hard decisions fast.
Researchers are hoping that their findings can not only help officers in the line of duty, but also pass their careers. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Liam Riley.
There has been an increase in precincts around the country that have started peer support teams to help handle the trauma unique to careers in law enforcement.
Areas of eastern Spain and the city of Valencia suffered historic flash floods last week that left more than 200 people dead and more injured. Emergency crews are still dealing with the cleanup as authorities are dealing with outrage from impacted citizens. SCTV3's Brian Weiss has the story.
A year of rain in just one day. That's what areas of Spain received last week, leading to devastating flash floods. So far, authorities have counted 210 people that were killed from the floods, but are still taking toll of the full scope of the damage.
What we are seeing is devastating. Entire villages are covered with mud. People seeking refuge on trees and cars swept away by the fury of the waters.
Spain has seen similar fall storms in recent years, but nothing compared to the devastation in just a number of hours. Torrential rain battered cities in the eastern part of the country, leaving roads and communities underwater. Valencia was hit particularly hard, with infrastructure falling in some areas of the city. The King and Queen of Spain visited Valencia days after the floods and were met with hostility from citizens. Some were throwing mud and other objects, claiming the government had not provided enough aid prior to the floods. Areas of Valencia are still without power and running water as authorities continue to recover injured civilians and clean up debris. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Brian Weiss.
Now, more than a week after the floods, there are about 89 citizens still unaccounted for around the Valencia area, and Spanish government has deployed about 15,000 soldiers to deal with the recovery.
When we come back, Connor Rourke has the latest news and highlights in Pride Athletics on SCTV3 Sports Extra.
Guys, do you want to change lives?
Absolutely. How can we do that?
Follow me. Let's go to the Y Club.
All right, let's ask some members what they love about Y Club.
I love when the Y Club gives me opportunity to hang out with community members.
It gives you an opportunity to help families.
You don't have to know anything about the Y and you get to meet great people.
I love how inviting all the members are, and I also like participating in all the fun activities.
The Y Club gives you an opportunity to grow as a leader by engaging with people in your community.
Hey Jess, what's reason number 1 on why you should join Y Club?
Meeting different populations of people and learning what future communities you might want to work with.
You should join the Y Club to make different connections, whether it's business, friendship, or just leadership connections.
Reason number 3 is to get out of your comfort zone. If you feel stuck in any place, and this place is perfect for it. If you want to get out of it and explore new locations.
Reason number 4 is that you don't need a career in the YMCA. There's so many other things that you can do with it, and you don't need a job for it.
On Saturday, the football team continued its undefeated season with a win against Norwich. A 56-14 throttle by the Pride has moved the record to 8-0 and 5-0 in conference standings. Springfield dominated the game, having possession of the ball for 36 minutes while holding Norwich to just 236 yards. The Pride's rushing offense was a force once again, tallying 485 yards on the ground and 6 scores. Their offense was led by Arsene Stefan, who rushed for 124 yards and 2 scores, and Jacob Sylvester, who found Bradley Barcelo for a 56-yard touchdown pass right before the first half ended. Football travels to take on Merchant Marine on Saturday at noon. On Saturday, the men's and women's swimming and diving teams fell to MIT in their season opener. Both swimming and diving teams couldn't start off the year with a win, as men's lost 298 to the number 3 MIT men's team, while women's were defeated 242 to 57 against MIT's number 5 women's team. Grad student Matt Kenvin shined in his Springfield debut for the men's, winning the 100-meter breaststroke and the 200-meter backstroke. As for the women's team, senior Nina Lamb had a strong start to her season, finishing second in the 100 and 200-meter breaststrokes. Swimming and diving traveled to Wheaton College to take on Wheaton and Keene State in a tri-meet on Saturday at 11. The women's soccer team ended its NUMAC tournament run this Tuesday after a 3-0 loss against WPI. The Engineers scored only 38 seconds into the game off of a corner kick. They held that lead going into halftime. Quickly into the second half, WPI put in its final 2 goals. Springfield only forced WPI's goalie to make 1 save during the contest, while the Pride's keeper, Taryn Ryan, stopped 4 balls from traveling in the net. WPI's lead extended to 3-0 with 17 minutes remaining in the game, firmly shutting the door on Springfield's postseason hopes. With the loss, Springfield's season has come to a close. It finished with a record of 9-5-4, its best season since 2019. The women's volleyball team swept Salve Regina on Tuesday night. With 1 week left in the regular season play, the Pride started off strong by defeating the Seahawks 3-0. The first set was all Springfield as they held Salve Regina to only 8 points. The Seahawks played closer in the set too, but the Pride ended up winning 25-20, looking to complete their 11th sweep of the season. Springfield left out to a 7-2 strong start. An error from Salve Regina on the last point led to a 25-16 set win for the Pride. This win moved Springfield to 3rd in conference standings. The Pride are currently facing off against Endicott in Blake Arena for the 20th win of the season. SCTV3's Brian Weiss, Kyle Valentine, and Shane Barron took a look at the NUMAC playoff picture for 3 Springfield College teams. They also had a chance to speak with Springfield men's soccer goalie Noah Pote.
3 Springfield College athletic teams began their NUMAC playoff games for the 2024 conference tournament. Springfield field hockey came up just short to WPI, losing 1-0 in the NUMAC quarterfinals on Tuesday. The Pride women's soccer team also faced off against WPI in their quarterfinal matchup, and they fell to the Engineers 3-0. Pride men's soccer, however, overcame an early 2-0 deficit thanks to Morgan Thibodeau scoring the game-tying goal in the second half, sending the match to extra time. 120 minutes couldn't decide which of the teams would be punching their ticket to the NUMAC semifinals. In a penalty kick thriller, Ian Bellis capitalized on a miss by MIT, securing the Pride a spot in the Final Four against the number 1 ranked team in the NUMAC, Babson College. We had a chance to speak with Springfield junior goalie Noah Pote about the importance of playoff experience, preparation, and team morale during a playoff run.
Our captains on the team are really good. They've been in really good situations in the playoffs. Last year we made it to the first round of playoffs. We had a tough result, so we wanted to bounce back from that and make it a good win yesterday, and that's what we did. So I think their experience throughout their 4 years here has been improving us a lot. It's definitely difficult. Playoffs are it's all in 1 week. We're giving it all every single game, so our leg's going to be dead. But just making sure we get our rest, sleeping well, eating well, taking our time in practice, stretching, and just doing all the things that we can do to beat Babson tomorrow. Oh, the boys are buzzing, obviously, after last night. It was a great win. Being down 2-0 in the first half, first 30 minutes, it was definitely a punch in the face. But we came back, made it 2-1 in the first half, scored 5-10 minutes into the second half, made it 2-2. And then from there, the boys were buzzing the entire game. We were ready. It was our game. I know we're ready for Babson tomorrow because we lost 1-0 to them earlier in the season, which is a really good result. But I think we're going to have a better result and end up beating them this time.
For more information, check out SpringfieldCollegePride.com. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Brian Weiss.
Pride men's soccer's NUMAC playoff run came to an end today when they lost to top-seeded Babson. This week, I had the opportunity to speak with grad student Jen Walker on the women's soccer team about their season. I'm Connor Rourke here with women's soccer player and grad student Jen Walker. And Jen, what does the team have to focus on in order to prepare for NUMACs?
Yeah, so definitely a lot of things. I mean, it comes into what we do in practice and putting that to work. We've been working on things all season. We're working on a lot of passing patterns and just getting the ball in the net. That's something we've struggled with, is scoring. We can get all the way up there, but then putting the ball in the net is something we've had difficulty doing, which is very important, obviously, to win a game. So in terms of on-field stuff, that's definitely a key. And then off the field, just team chemistry. Like, we all love each other, and then being able to translate that on the field and developing that trust is super important for our team. And if you have a team that trusts each other and wants to go the distance and wants to put in the effort, that's going to be the biggest key to success.
What would you say is the biggest difference between this year's team and previous years?
Yeah, so this year we had a coaching change. Our coach took a leave of absence this year due to pregnancy, so she hasn't been with us. So we've had our assistant coach step up, Brendan, who's been absolutely amazing, and he's really changed our attitude in a positive way. And to make us obviously your head coach stepping out, things can kind of get a little crazy in your head, oh, what are we going to do without our head coach? But Brendan stepping up, he's been awesome, and I feel like we haven't missed a beat. So that's been good. And then we've also had 13 freshmen that have come in. So navigating them in the team, and they've stepped up in the biggest ways, which has been amazing. We have a few freshmen that are starting now, which is awesome. So that has definitely been a change, having that big class come in and then learning to navigate a whole 13 new players within the team, and then with the whole coaching change, but I feel like we've done a great job with it.
What would you say your goals are and the team's goals heading into the first game?
Yeah, so my goals specifically, I'm a captain on the team, so holding that standard for my team, making sure we all know what's at stake here. Obviously, I'm a fifth year, so it's my last chance to be able to make this NUMAC run, so that's also really important. Just holding that standard and making sure everyone who, even if this isn't their last season, so the underclassmen, juniors, make sure they understand what's at stake and how good our team is and how much success we can have. And then as a team, just working together and making sure, like I said, like we all understand we all have the same goal, but actually putting that into play.
Thank you to Jen for taking the time to speak with us. With 2 more teams starting their winter season, here's this week's athletic schedule. There are only 2 home games this week as both basketball teams play their season openers tomorrow night against Western New England. Be on the lookout for volleyball to potentially host a new MAC playoff first-round game on Tuesday. Wrestling will be traveling across town on Saturday at Western New England to battle in the City of Springfield Championship, where they'll face off against AIC, host Western New England, and Springfield Tech. Men's and women's swimming and diving look to claim their first win of the season against their rival Wheaton. Number 20 ranked football plays Merchant Marine at noon. Women's volleyball ends their regular season play against Babson, a match that went to a thrilling 5 sets last year. On Tuesday, men's basketball will face off against Yeshiva for the first time in program history. Wrapping up our schedule preview is women's basketball taking a road trip to Northern Mass to take on Endicott. To see each team's full schedule, go to SpringfieldCollegePride.com. That'll do it for this week on SCTV Sports Extra. Stick around after the break to see which very special member of the campus community celebrated their birthday today.
Have you ever wanted to learn what it's like to work in the journalism field and want to gain real-world experience? Join the Springfield Student, Springfield College's official newspaper since 1909. Here you'll get to learn what it's like to work in a fast-paced, deadline-driven industry and get to write weekly stories for the paper surrounding athletics, events on campus, feature stories, and so much more. You'll also have the opportunity to potentially cover the Spalding Hoop Hall Classic, a yearly high school basketball showcase held right here in Blake Arena, featuring some of the top high school talent across the country. Interested in learning more or joining the staff? Email our faculty advisor, Amy Crawford, or reach out to me directly, Braden Shea, the editor-in-chief.
Remy, the Springfield College comfort dog, turned 1 year old earlier today. SCTV3's Liam Riley was lucky enough to attend the celebration the college threw for him.
On January 8th, the Springfield College Department of Public Safety introduced Remy, the newest comfort dog on campus. Flash forward to today, and Remy is celebrating his first birthday. The party was hosted on the admin green, with both human and canine friends in attendance. Students at Remy's birthday celebration spoke on the importance of having a comfort dog at Springfield.
Remy has had a great impact on our campus. He is a great support system, and he is always around when we're walking to class if we need a pick-me-up and get to pet him and hang out with him.
I think the importance of having Remy on campus is just the importance of like little moments. Like when you see a dog, it can really brighten someone's day. It doesn't have to be a big thing, just little moments like that really help.
Yeah, definitely. Remy's so sweet. He's really chill sometimes. Other times he's really crazy. So it depends on the day, really, whatever you get. But no, he's super sweet, and it makes me think of my dogs at home, which is really nice.
Springfield College Deputy Chief Joseph Terabashi is Remy's partner. The two have been working together since Remy's debut and recently graduated the Intermediate Obedience Program. Terabashi knows that Remy has already made a big impact on campus.
He seems to make everyone's day a little bit better when I see him. You know, if it's either in the union, walking around campus, different classrooms. We've done a lot of Remy visits in classrooms for major tests, practicals, those kinds of things. But he's continuing to help with, having a positive mental health on this campus.
For more updates on Remy, follow at SC_ComfortDog_Remy on Instagram. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Liam Riley.
That'll do it for this week's edition of SCTV3 Weekly News. Thank you for joining us. All our episodes are available on demand on our YouTube channel, SCTV3.
Tune in next week for more news and sports coverage.
Same time,
same place.